Hey you guys, how's it going? It's Chris here. Welcome to another Game Pass guide video. Today I'm going to be recommending to you what games that you should play for achievements for the game itself, and maybe even what games you should not play that are on Game Pass that I have personally experienced. I'm only going to be recommending games to you guys that I have played, maybe a couple here and there that I haven't played but I am about to play that I do know for a fact can be done easily or whatever have you. Just to let you know, today's date is March 12th, so this list is effective by this date, so who knows how it's going to change, but for now let's just go ahead and get into the Game Pass. First off, starting with #IDAR. Very easy completion, fairly fun couch co-op type of game. It's a little 2D sports game, and it's interesting enough. I know that back in the day when I got the achievements a few years ago, there were achievements for doing stuff with the Kinect and related to Twitter. I know that there were some changes that went with the achievement requirements, making them, I believe, not require Kinect, but you're gonna have to check that yourself. I can't verify that you don't need Kinect for it right now. Well, I could, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy. But yeah, the game itself is very easy, take you a couple hours to complete, and it's fun enough to keep playing a little after. You can even design your own team and avatars, so it's pretty fun. And just to let you guys know, what I use to get achievements, to follow guides and to look up specific secret achievements, or even to find completion times if I haven't played the game myself, is trueachievements.com. and if you're on Xbox and you get achievements, and you already know about this website, but in case you don't, here it is. This is where you go to click on any game that's in the list and figure out exactly what you need to do. Find guides, find out the achievements you don't need, see information about the games based on other people's feedback and such. So it's definitely a website I recommend if you're not on it. Make sure you follow me on there. Linkins by Gamertag, obviously. Follow me on there. Moving along over here to the right, we have Abzu. It's a very easy, like less than 5-hour completion. All depends on your speed in which you take the game. It's very atmospheric, has its own art style, and it's got good music and such, and it's got a few collectibles. You can follow a guide to get all the achievements. It's definitely not difficult. I'd recommend it. I played it on stream. You can play along with me and get all the achievements with me as I go, as I use a guide to get it. So yeah, it's a decent game. I'd recommend it just for the achievements and for the atmosphere. Next, we're moving down to Alien Isolation. This is definitely a bit of a different game. This game took me about 10 to 15 hours to fully play through. I did a playthrough series on my channel, so you can watch those episodes and watch me get increasingly frustrated with the aliens killing me. But if you're a fan of the Alien universe, it's definitely a game I would recommend playing. And as for achievements, you can probably get 600 to 700 with one playthrough, and then a couple of achievement cleanups. There is DLC, but no additional achievements for the DLC, so you don't have to worry about that. It's basically survival and like other little mission type stuff. Moving over here to Costume Quest 2, this game is about a 10-hour completion. It's a very fun JRPG style game that honestly I was finding myself enjoying outside of the fact of the achievements. I highly recommend it, and there's some collectibles, but there are guides for those, so definitely sit down and play it. Now here's a weird game that I don't really know how to recommend, because it's equally as fun as it is terrifying, and by terrifying I mean just I feel like I'm on drugs while I play the game, because it is just so wacky and weird and just off the rail, and I can't describe to you the feeling I get while playing this game, but it's just, there's really no combination of words that I can come up with off the top of my head that can tell you what type of game it is and how it affected my soul. It basically, the type, what game it is you're a detective, and you can travel to different moments in time using things called mementos, and you're trying to solve the murder of a girl that you know, or that you knew, and also trying to figure out your own dark past and blah blah blah. And it's just wacky. It is just absolutely insanity, and unfortunately there is no sequel coming out, even though this sequel baited. The studio didn't do so well, but that's okay, because guess what, I bought the soundtrack and I love the soundtrack to the game. It's just sad that we're not going to get to see a sequel to this amazing game. The voice of Jiraiya from Naruto is also in the game too, which is amazing. Now here's the first game I want to not recommend, which is Dead Island Definitive Edition. I can't speak for Riptide, but I do know that Dead Island has odd numbered achievements, so if you're a person who cares about having a 0 and a 5 at the end of your gamer score, do not play this game. It will screw that up unless you plan on 100%ing it, or starting it and using it to fix your gamer score and then not getting more achievements. That's also an option, but kind of dumb, because then you're bringing down your average. Next, I want to recommend a game series. Though the achievements are difficult and not particularly favorable for you, I have to recommend Devil May Cry 4 and DMC Devil May Cry. More so Devil May Cry 4 just because I grew up with it on the 360 and it is a game that is near and dear to my heart. I love the soundtrack, I love the characters, I love Kyrie and Nero and Dante. I just absolutely love the game. Though it's a very, very long game, I played through it a lot of times on the 360. I haven't gone back and finished playing through even one playthrough on Xbox One, but that's just because I oversaturated myself with it on the 360. I still recommend it nonetheless. DMC itself, right here with the quote-unquote reboot that failed miserably, is less stellar. The story sucks, but the gameplay itself is fantastic, and the achievements are decent. I have to recommend the Gears of War series strictly based on their legacy, but I do want to recommend you stay away from Gears of War 4 because of a lot of discontinued and unobtainable achievements, not to mention it has about 3,000 total game score, of which, like I said, have discontinued and unobtainable achievements, so I'd recommend you stay the hell away from that game. Stay away from Judgment. I hated that game, honestly. It was just completely awful. The Ultimate Edition, however, I found myself playing through with a co-op partner on Insane, being able to rack up about 800 or so gamer score, I believe. So the rest of it is like a cumulative multiplayer stuff, so that kind of sucks, but you can get a decent chunk from it, and also you have the extra missions that the first game cut out, so that's really nice. Don't really need to recommend the Halo games to you guys. You already know enough about Halo and Master Chief Collection. I have about 3,000 gamer score out of the 6,000 in MCC. I still go back and play it every once in a bit because I love the Halo games to death. How could I not? I'm an Xbox fan, so I don't really need. I'm just gonna kind of skim over those. I do know that Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a very easy 1,000 if you play through following a collectible guide, of which I am in the middle of doing right now. But for the fact that I have to play it for the first time while watching a video for the collectibles, it has de-incentivized me. Is that the word? It has made me not want to play it as much right now. There's not as much of a drive because I know that I'm not going to be able to fully enjoy the game on my first playthrough since I have to follow the collectible guide. I could always play it through without the collectibles and then go back and play through again, but that's the problem, is you have to play through it twice if you don't get all the collectibles. So do with that what you will. Absolutely stay away from Homefront: The Revolution. It is one of the worst games I have played on the Xbox One thus far, despite the fact that the first game itself was a whole lot of fun and I loved the game on the 360. Unfortunately, Homefront: The Revolution gave me diabetes, and that no offense to anybody who has or knows somebody that has diabetes, but this game gave me diabetes. I absolutely hate it with a passion. It has ruined my perception of the Homefront series, and it just depresses me, honestly. It sent me into a spiraling depression that made me question everything that I've ever known and loved of this in the universe, and made me just hate myself. So don't play that game. The achievements suck, they're glitched, and I struggled through in the hardest difficulty for my first playthrough just to not get the hardest difficulty achievement because it was bugged. So thank you for that, Homefront: The Revolution, 1 star. Next is Hue, which is a 2D platforming puzzle game, which is literally my least favorite game genre, but I did play through 100% the game because it is pretty easy. It takes less than 5 hours, and there are collectibles that require at least 2 or 1.5 playthroughs to get, but it's not difficult and there are guides for it. Moving on down to Night Squad, it's like a 3-hour completion. You can do it all by yourself, and once you're done playing that, after you follow the guides to get all the achievements, it's a very fun top-down, twin-stick, kind of arcadey type game that you can play couch co-op with your friends that I think I might do next time I have friends over, so I would enjoy it. I even did a full stream where I did play this game and get all the achievements on stream, which will be in my Achievements and Gamerscore playlist, or should be my 100% playlist, something like that. Next, I want to recommend / not recommend Layers of Fear. It is one of the least horror games I've ever played. It is not scary. It started off interesting and then very quickly just dissolved in my mind. It's boring. Its atmosphere is stale after like the first hour, and it can be beaten in less than 4 hours, but you do have to play through 3 times for the main story for all 3 different endings, in which can be kind of annoying following the guides. But even playing through the campaign 3 times and playing through the story 3 times and playing through the DLC 3 times, I got all the achievements in I think 10 or less hours with guides, so it's very easy. It's just not a scary game. Next, I have to recommend Life is Strange Season 1 and Season 2. Life is Strange is a series that holds a very special place in my heart. The first game had a very big impact on my life musically and emotionally, and I love that game. Life is Strange before the story, not so much, but it still completes the story for me. Very easy games to complete, just gotta get the collectibles following guys, like I said, using Maca91 as a reference, and they're just very fun games. They can be a bit weird at times for when it comes to the dialogue, but they're still very enjoyable. Next up is Max the Curse of Brotherhood, a very easy 10 or less hour completion. You can go back and do mission select and clean up achievements you didn't get and get all the collectibles you didn't get. There are guides for it, so don't worry about it, and it's a very fun little kid-friendly game, so it's kind of cute and it's a good little adventure. Next is the big ones that I need to recommend based on gameplay and atmosphere alone, which is the Metro series. Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light are two of my favorite games on the Xbox One, and just for the graphics, the atmosphere, and the story alone, despite all the achievements, I did get all the achievements between the two games, and I would recommend you play them despite the achievements, but you can get a very good amount of achievements just by playing them through once or twice. You have to play it, you have to experience it with a good headset and a good TV and a good console. You need to, this is the kind of game that I would want to play on a PC with max settings, because it is just downright gorgeous. It is jaw-droppingly beautiful, and I'm not kidding, the third game in the series, Metro Exodus, which I'm currently doing a playthrough right now, which by the way I did a playthrough of both these games on my channel, so you should check those out. I literally cried at how beautiful the game was. I'm not kidding, I started to get teary-eyed, so if that says anything about what the game is, then there you go. Moving down here to this row, we have Outlast, which is actually a good horror game. I would very much recommend it, and I give the game probably an 8 out of 10 overall. It's definitely not an easy completion. There's some very, very hard speedrunning strategy stuff here to get a completion, but between Outlast and the Whistleblower DLC with the game, you can get a good 1,000 out of 1,500 gamer score with a few achievement cleanups and collectibles and stuff, and it's actually genuinely a scary game, so I very, very much recommend it. It was all the rage when it first came out. Moving over to Oxenfree, it's quite the interesting game when it comes to the story and lore based off it. It's a little bit confusing, but there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. It's a stylized 2D kind of side-scroller flat plane game, but it's a very good mystery, creepy, not really horror, but just kind of unsettling type of game, and I didn't complete it. It's a very easy completion with a couple of different endings, but it's still a very good 700 or 800 gamer score with maybe 2 playthroughs, so it will require you to do 3 playthroughs, but they are very quick and very enjoyable, and lots of dialogue and different choices you can make, and it's a really cool game. I'd recommend you watch some videos on it before you play it, but you can definitely have fun with it. Avoid Payday 2. It's terrible, the achievements suck, it's glitchy, it's buggy, it's ugly, it's just a gross game. I'm so upset that I played this game on the 360. PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Definitely a difficult game. It's a bit sometimes broken, it's very buggy and glitchy, but a whole lot of fun with one of the OG big granddaddy battle royale games. I personally completed the game. I got all 1,000 gamer score, which I'm very proud of, and is one of my best completed games on my gamer card compared to everyone who has played it. I have one of the highest ratios for the game on my gamer card, so it's not an easy game to complete by any means. I have played this game for like 300 hours, but it would probably take you 100 to 200 hours to complete it once you get good at it. Even when you're good at it, it's still buggy, but I'd recommend you play it, not for the achievements, but just for the legacy of it. It's a very fun game, and they're still updating it, they're still trying to fix it, so I recommend it, but at the same time would tell you to avoid it if you want to have a perfect completion ratio. I gotta skip by a lot of games right here and get down to the next one to tell you to avoid, which is ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, and I started playing this game. I think I played it for like 20 or so hours. I got maybe 15-20 gamer scores, something stupid like that, and I was just upset with the state of the game, with the requirements of the game, and it was just a mess. And you're not going to get a lot of gamer score unless you plan on putting 500 hours in this game, and I don't even know what the state of its online community is right now, and that was back in the day. You'd be putting like 500 hours in for all the achievements, so even right now I have no idea what current state the game is in. I mean, maybe it's revived a little bit because of Game Pass, but I would just avoid it. It's not Skyrim. You're not going to get Skyrim from this, or even Oblivion if you loved Oblivion. The Escapist is a pretty fun little 500 gamer score game. It definitely kept me busy for a couple hours, and I enjoyed it, but you're not going to be getting all 1,000 gamer score very easy, and there's a lot of spin-offs with like The Walking Dead and other kind of stuff, so I don't really know how those all tie together. I believe that they're separate achievements, but I'm not sure. I would say play the original Escapist and get like 500 gamer score if you want, but as far as the completion goes, I wouldn't do it. The Flame and the Flood is a very difficult game that I played all the way through on stream. It's very challenging and super niche in its own category and what it is. I can't really explain it to you much. Either watch my videos or watch other videos on it, but the achievements are not that easy, so I would unfortunately say to avoid it for achievements, but play it for the style of the game. It's definitely interesting. Next, we have the Gardens Between. I have it installed right now. I haven't played through it yet, but I do know that it's about a 2 or less hour completion with a guide. I can say that for certain. And even though I haven't done it myself, I know I'm going to very soon. I just have to sit down and do it. Next, we have The Swapper, as a game that I have not gone through and played, but I know it's a hour or less completion. I just don't want to. I hate the style of the game. It's, again, a 2D platformer. It's very clunky and weird, but it's super easy. You don't even need to beat the game to get all the achievements. I just haven't done it yet because I don't want to. Now we have The Walking Dead Season 1 plus 400 Days and Season 2, which are both very easy completions. There's a couple of missable achievements, but for the most part, you can play through them both and get all the achievements, asterisk. Like I said, there's like a missable achievement here or there, but the games are amazing. You need to play the Walking Dead games. I like them. I hate the show because I like the games. Next, we have Thomas Was Alone, which is a super easy, about 2 or so hour completion. It's a jumping puzzle game, and it's, even for a puzzle game, I found it kind of fun. And if you follow a guide, it's even easier, but you honestly don't need a guide to get the achievements. I think there's some collectibles, which is the only thing you might need a guide for, but the puzzles themselves are not. Moving over here to Unmechanical Extended Edition, which is another hour to 2 hour completion that doesn't really require much of you. There's some stipulation when it comes to it, but if you follow Maka's guide, he can walk you through it very easily. It's, again, another 2D side-scrolling game, and which are just so easy to make and stupid, but you can get a lot of achievements very easily in that. And I think that's about it, guys, for achievements and games to play. Obviously, I recommend you play Wolfenstein: The New Order. It's a pretty fun game. Zombie Army Trilogy is a pretty fun game, but the achievements between the both of them aren't the easiest. Wolfenstein's a bit easier, but Zombie Army Trilogy is a bit grindy and a little bit challenging, so I would recommend playing all the Tomb Raider games as well, but the achievements aren't perfect. Especially Tomb Raider, the first one, which has multiplayer achievements, which you can grind between a couple of different local consoles connected in private games, but even still, it's how worth it is it to you. And again, that's the list for March 12th, 2019. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Check out my other Gamerscore videos, which I promise you're going to be able to increase your Gamerscore if you watch those videos. I guarantee it. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.